Hello there. Today we're going to start talking about free stuff. So some free orchestral things here. So three sort of fairly complementary orchestral sample libraries. And they're all sort of quite interesting, and well, first of all, they fit together quite nicely. I've used them sort of together. They complement each other quite well, but they're also like a sort of like a gateway drug to the real thing. So what have we got? We've got BBC Symphony Orchestra. Why am I saying it's a gateway drug? What am I talking about? So the BBC Symphony Orchestra is Spitfire. And there's the free version, which we're going to have a look at now. And that leads into the core version, which is a sort of bigger and more comprehensive version of the free version. And then there's a professional version as well. So I actually think that is a really excellent thing, because very often when you buy a sample library, you've got no idea what you're getting yourself into to a certain extent, and you can splash the cash and then realize that actually you don't really like it. But actually with this, you can try out the free version, and then if this is working for you, you can then augment it by upgrading to the core version. And then the same thing with the core, you can upgrade to the professional version if that's what you want to do. We're going to look at Project Sam as well. The free orchestra from Project Sam. This is what that looks like. This is a contact instrument rather than the BBC Spitfire thing, which is in its own player. This plays on the free contact, I'm sure it must do. There's two versions of this. I'm going to look at the basic Project Sam version here, but there's a more up-to-date version of this that I've realised, the Project Sam Free Orchestra 2. And they are sort of theoretically updating that bit by bit, although that did run out in June 2024. It's now currently August 2024, so I don't know whether they're going to continue doing that, but it's basically the same thing by the look of it. And the third one to look at, so that builds, is what I'm saying. This is a starting point, and then Sonascore, the orchestra. This is the full version of this that I've got here. However, there is a free version, which is like a cut down version of this. So I'm going to play the full version, but it'll give you a bit of an idea of how the free version works. Again, a really great idea, because I think you can try things out, and then if you don't like it, you don't buy it, or if you do, you know what you're getting yourself in for with this Sonascore sample library. So let's have a look at the BBC for a start. I absolutely think this is fantastic. I think the player is genius. If you are happy not to have too much control, if you're happy to sort of play out of the box, it's a great beginner orchestral palette. And what I think is so beautiful about it is that you've got the orchestra laid out in front of you here. So to play the first violins, this is where the first violins traditionally sit in an orchestra. You press the first violin's little segment and you play. It's as simple as that. If you want to play the horns, don't often sit there, but we've got horns over here, we've got cellos, we've got basses, and at the back we've got the brass, bass, trombone, tuba, we've got the woodwind here, etc. And it's also got a nice percussion section at the back. Now, it is free, and each of there's piano. Do you know, I never realised that. It's quite restricted in what you get. So, I mean, if we look at the violins for a start, then let's look at the first violins. I'm not going to go through everything of this, because there's loads of things online about this, but this is just my sort of take on it. There's four articulations. The long, just not a great legato, but it has this really nice it's quite a nice sort of reverb sound to it, which I think is Abbey Road. Is it Abbey Road? It's one of the really famous recording studios. It's either Abbey Road or the other one. It's not Abbey Road. It's it's gone from me, but it has that particular sound. Okay, it's a nice starter articulation. It's not perfect. It goes wah, wah, wah. It's not, but it works. It's free. You've got a spiccato. pizzicato, and a lovely tremolo. And all the strings have the same articulation as those four. The long spiccato, pizzicato, tremolo, triolas are the same, cellos, basses. Now, basses haven't got a tremolo, that's fine. They're okay, they're nice. The harp and celeste is lovely. I really like the... Oh, this is split. Good. Nice timp sound there. Tuned percussion. You've got a number of options here, tubular bells. Marimba. Xylophone. Glock. Oh. You don't expect those to sound nice, and they do actually sound nice. And then we're on to brass. We've got a nice trumpet sound. Again, you just got a long and a short. Trombones. Shorts. This is bass trombone. Staccato. All of those more successful, I think, short than they are long, but you've only got that one long sustained articulation. The horns. Shorts. So sort of almost in a really, really basic level what you need there. Everything, you've got longs and shorts of everything. You've got the whole orchestra. It's laid out for you absolutely beautifully. Let's go on just for a minute. Let's have a look at Project Sam. This is a different sort of idea in that. Let's actually finding it on Contact. Here we go. It's sort of whole orchestra tutty things, this, if I remember rightly. So let's just load one or two of these in. So we've got, what have we got here? This is bombastic basses. You can see it's restricted in this number of notes that you can play. You can do an octave, can't you? And there's a bass trombone sound in there. There's a timp sound in there, but a piano. Yeah, there's definitely piano, basses. It's a sort of orchestrated sound. Similarly with these, so for, I don't know, let's try ominous lows, for example. I'm going to guess is a low sort of drone. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. That's got a bit of harp in it. So again, it's orchestrated. You've got some harps and piano, a bit of bass, woodwind in there, and other things. Bassoon, definitely. Let's try another one. Pandora Panic, I think, is one of the better ones. Let's have a look. Pandora Bursts, rather. I mean, that's... Oh, I love that. And it does what it says on the tin. It's got that really, I mean, it blows the BBC brass out of the water, but you can only do that. You know, the BBC brass is more versatile, I suppose, because you can play different things. But this is bass trombone, it's got timpani. It has that beautiful natural diminuendo to it. The sound of this is absolutely awesome. But that's all it does. What isn't great on this, if I remember rightly, is that the horn patch isn't great. Heroic horns. That sounds really synthy and not great to me at all. What's Wild Winds like? Okay. So these are sort of effects. so usable. Oh, sort of bassoon harmonics there. Played samples, I mean, beautiful, beautiful samples, but obviously really, really niche, and you can only use it in certain bits, and there's just one hit for each one. However, like in combo with the BBC, you can play longer lines, and you've got a lot more flexibility with the BBC, and you've got these isolated individual little sort of coloured gems, I suppose, from Project Sam. The two can work together quite well. The Sonar score, the orchestra, again, I've got the full version here, but there is a free version of this. Totally different sort of idea. This is like an engine. Okay, so this go. You just press one key. I have a love-hate relationship with these things. I think that sounds great. It sounds naturally played. It has a fantastic sound to it. It's incredibly usable on its own. I think they do work really, really well. These, I always find myself struggling to get it to do exactly what I want, where I want it to do it, and for it to sound and to not be sort of too. I find myself sort of regulated by that rather than what I want to write, which can be a bit difficult sometimes. This has, I mean, so many things. It loads quite slowly, if I remember. I don't know what this is. Try this one, Black Wall. I think this is not on a. It's not on a flash drive for me. This is just on an ordinary, really old disk drive, because I rarely use it, hence why it loads quite slowly. But I imagine in real true life on a faster drive it's okay. There's a whole load of these orchestral, there's a whole orchestra things, orchestral colours. I don't know what's the choir sound like. Let's try and men choir full sustain. Maybe I should use this more. It's got so much on it that I wasn't aware of. Okay, that's just a choir thing. Orchestral colours. Okay, so let's do, so what have I used before? The orchestral rhythms. So let's go for, I don't know, strings or mix. Shall we go? Let's go strings, basic 16ths, just randomly. I think the problem with this version, which is why I don't use it so much, is there's just so much stuff in it. Okay, let's try putting some of this stuff together. What happens if we use, what did I have on Project Sam here that was working really, really well? Let's go back to one of the hits and just see if we can get sort of some hits from Project Sam. Let's see if we can get a rhythm going with Solar Score, and then see if we can put some stuff over the top with BBC. I'm making this up as I'm going along, so forgive, because it won't be great, but it'll give you an idea maybe of how it fits, how these things can actually fit. What am I looking for? Project Sam here. Why don't I have this in alphabetical order? I don't know, search me, I really should have. Let's use what was great on this a few minutes ago. Was it Pandora Burst, wasn't it? Let's load that up. Okay. Alrighty, I'm just going to stick with 120 and just see what we come up with, I think. Okay, so we've got that going. Let's just have a little bit of a think about adding something maybe from Sonar Score to it, see where we get on. That's in 3. Oh, it's in 6/8, okay. So slight issue going on there. Let me see if I can find something that's not in 6/8. Orchestral rhythms, 16th, 7/8, oh 7/8, oh 5/8, interesting. Is that 3, 4 and 6/8? Are these the time signatures, are they? Let's just check. No, surely not 5/8. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay, that is amazing. It won't be on the free version. Let's go basic eighths. Basic eighths for load. Come on. Okay, let's see what happens now. I mean, you could orchestrate that yourself, and it's using, well, you're not going to get the BBC Free doesn't sound that good. It's not going to sound as good. But what have we got going on in there? We've got tips, we've got piano, we've got bass, trombone, we've got tuba, definitely. We've got the string section chugging along. I literally just wrote that down in 5 seconds to orchestrate that separately using BBC Symphony Pro. It would take you a very long time, and this does sound okay. It's okay. It's quick and dirty, but it sounds okay. Now let's see what happens. Should we have some violins over the top of that? Let's have some short violins. Yeah, I want something with some real bite, and this doesn't have that, but never mind. What about pizzicato? That's a nicer sound. Let's try that. Okay, making things up as we go along, obviously, but okay, a few wrong notes in that. Let's just quantize it and see how we get to. That doesn't sound so bad. Interestingly, I wanted to put some short strings in there, but realised that they didn't really have the sort of bite that I wanted. So I did change the patch to pizzicato, and I think actually with all orchestral samples, but particularly using free stuff like this, you do need to play to the samples. You need to write stuff that sounds good with the samples rather than thinking, oh god, that doesn't sound great. How's this going anyway? What was those funny little Project Sam woodwind flourishes? I bet you can't pitch them, but let's see. What was there on here? There was like a really funny little blah, 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 blah. It was really quite cool. He said, searching for Project Sam again. Tedious. Why are they not in alphabetical order? We ask again. What was it? Wild Winds. Let's just change that. See if we can get some. Maybe. Let's make it a little bit louder. Maybe not. Let's have a tune. I'm hearing some French horns here. Let's see how the BBC Symphony Orchestra horns sound over the top of that. Okay, so we've got a really big, heroic French horn sound. French horns behind the first violins. I want a bit more volume on that. I don't quite know how you do it. Let's go over here. Okay, let's see how we go. Um, Okay, and you can hear actually how that does have some sort of sense of it being a piece of music already. Okay, so there we go. Three really great free libraries to try out. I think all have their problems, but they you know, and their uses and not uses, but they work really well together. I think as a starting point. They also give you an idea of, if you are going to spend money, what you might get in the paid versions, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Do I use any of these? No. Why not? Well, actually, I lie. I have used the Project Sam on the odd occasion, so the hits and things, I think, from those, the orchestral Tussie sounds, I've used those occasionally. Sonos Score the Orchestra, I find it like shoehorning my ideas into that really difficult, but that might well be me, because I think looking at it again now, it's got a lot of stuff in there that I had forgotten about, and I probably ought to explore it. It could be a really big time saver if I am writing something orchestral. So I think it sounds fantastic, but I always find these sample libraries that have ostinatos and things in them difficult. I think probably because I always start writing and try to shoehorn the ostinato into my ideas, and what actually you need to do with a lot of these things is start with the idea and then work around it. BBC Symphony Orchestra, bear in mind you're only getting the very basic articulations here, so you're not really getting a great legato. The staccatos, things aren't particularly short. It doesn't, to my ears, sound as good as Cinematic Studio. I prefer that. I find it more versatile. I think it's just better programmed, but I'm not. If I had maybe the professional version of BBC Symphony Orchestra, I might have a different view on that. I just don't. It's not. I haven't bought into that Spitfire particular line. However, a lot of people like it, and a lot of people really rate it. The sound of Maida Vale, I think it is. He said, remembering 40 minutes later, is lovely. It has that particular BBC sound to it, which a lot of people like, or you may not like. You might want something more neutral. You can't, and I think maybe you can't get rid of that to a certain extent. It's maybe not as flexible, I don't know, but it is a great library and a great sort of whole thing to have. And I think to a certain extent, having a whole set like that of something like the BBC all recorded in the same place is great, with all of the sections in the, you know, in the same space. I think CSS, Cinematic Studio Series, is really good for that because it's all recorded in the same space. I don't like the sound of the reverb on that, or the hall particularly, but it's easy with the mic positions to get rid of it, and it does blend nicely together. Okay, hope that's been really useful. Download these and play with them. They're great fun. Hope to see you in another video soon. Bye bye.